please join me in welcoming Dr. Grace LaJoy Henderson. Come on, let's give her a great big God bless you. Let's stand up. Ladies, worthy of that honor. Amen.
How many of you have a loving mother? Just a loving mother. And so for those of you who have a loving mother, then I'm sure it's hard to imagine a mother just leaving their child. But that's exactly what happened to me when I was 2. My mother left me. And I was told that your mother, she doesn't want you. And I was only a 2-year-old child. And my reply to hearing that your mother doesn't want you was, well, if she don't want me, I don't want her neither. And so that traumatic event caused me to carry around feelings of fear and feelings of rejection and feelings of insecurity pretty much throughout my life. If my own mother didn't want me, who else would want me? I often thought. And so as I grew older, I began to turn to writing as a way to deal with that insecurity, rejection, and the fear and all that. And that's where writing came in handy. My first memory of writing, I was in the 2nd or 3rd grade, and I used to change poems like roses are red, violets are blue. I would change it to something that I thought was more creative, and then I would share it, with my teacher or with my classmates and things like that. And also, later on, I began to change popular songs, and I would reword the songs to give them a whole new meaning, and I did it to make my friends laugh. And I can't repeat, the way I changed those songs because I wasn't a Christian back then. Now, as I got older, I began writing poems, and most of my poems was about boys. And I kept my first poem when I was 13. I'm always sharing the fact that I started writing when I was 13. And I share that a lot. If you ever hear I think even when she did my bio, I think she said Grace began writing when she was 13. But I kept my first poem when I was 13, but I've never shared the poem. I still have that poem. And it was about a boy, and his name was Johnny. All right. And I really liked Johnny. And the poem, it went like this. In case you haven't noticed, I like you a whole lot. I can't say it's love when it's really not. I think of you when the skies are cloudy, and even when they're blue. And I'll never let a boy nor man take the place of you. All right. You're always on my mind. I may be on yours too. You're something very special, and I'm really beginning to love you. Now, this guy never talked to me. And we never talked, never dated, nothing. But I just had a big crush on him. After somebody that I knew did something to me that caused me great pain, I wrote a poem entitled, I Forgive You. And this poem goes like this. I must forgive you, sweetie, though you've hurt me ever so much. All right. I must forgive you, sugar, because I need God's loving touch. So I must forgive you, honey. I must forgive you, doll. I must let go of bitterness. I must give God my all. I must forgive you, sweetheart. And although you did me wrong, I can't continue to sing the same sad, worn, and weary song. All right. Because God is taking me higher. His mercy is ever true. Yes. And regardless of what you did to me, He's taking you higher too. So please accept my forgiveness, and let's start this thing anew. Because my God has forgiven me, and I must forgive you. Now I'm going to leave you with a poem entitled He's Worth It. This poem was published in my More Than Mere Words poetry book. It's also published on my Poetic Empowerment CD. It has music behind it on the CD. And He's Worth It. It offers encouragement to parents who are contemplating giving up on their child who has been defiant. And it offers empowerment to parents who are seeking renewed strength to continue to fight for their child. This poem is somewhat entertaining. It represents the major challenge and responsibility that we have to continue to encourage our children and to do everything in our power to help them to succeed, even when our efforts seem useless. Now, I can't help but think that if my mother, who left me when I was 2, had she heard maybe some similar words, maybe not these exact words, but just something empowering, who knows, maybe, just maybe, she might have had the empowerment or the encouragement to stay with her own children. Well, anyway, here's the poem entitled, He's Worth It. Fond thoughts of the baby that you bore, from you he never parts. But now your child has become defiant, and he's ripping out your heart. In times, in your disappointment, you wonder, did I birth this? When you observe his defiance, you wonder, is it worth this? Well, God has heard your cries, and today I'm here to say that yes, your child is worth it, even when he refuses to obey. He's worth every sacrifice. He's worth every tear. He's worth every worry. He's worth every fear. He is your special child, regardless of what he's done. So as long as you don't give up on him, the enemy has not won. So continue to fight for your child, because when the battle's through, God's mighty power will prevail, although your child is in debt to you. But just because your child owes you his life doesn't mean he should be forced to repay. Because if we all got what we deserved, we'd all be dead today. Many children turn their lives around, and that's a blessing. It's not luck. But even if your child never changes, don't ever let it be said you gave up.